So today I'm here with the great pleasure of speaking to Amnon Eden. We've had a number of conversations, I think 2 lengthy conversations in and around AI, and during those conversations it transpired you've been sort of working in and around AI since 1989 when you were doing your master's degree. So I'm really keen to explore, AI and how things have changed. But just before we get into some of the questions, Amnon, do you want us to give us a quick introduction to you and your history in AI?
Right. So yes, I started working in '89 when I chose my master's in AI, in computer science. The subject was machine learning, and then I worked with the Machine Learning Research Institute and the Future of Humanity in Oxford on the future on AI. That started in 2010. And yeah, we published an interesting volume on the future of AI. So yeah, AI has been a passion, a challenge, for a long time. Today so there is a think tank, sapiens.org is a think tank, and we have on board, we have some people who've been thinking of AI for longer than me. Yes, so hopefully we get a perspective. This historical perspective through time gives us somewhat different ideas to the ones that we see today in 2023.
Yeah, it's interesting for me to hear that machine learning was around in 1989 because it seems like a buzzword of today, and I know it has been around. So probably the best place for us to start, with the question, Amnon, is what is AI? What's AI to you?
Yes. The way I understand AI today goes back to Turing in 1950, actually. So that's even before the term AI was around. He called it machine intelligence. So the challenge he saw was solving problems that only humans seemingly can solve. He was talking about computation then, but much more interesting things. So even today, if you look in a textbook about artificial intelligence, so the definition there is simply imitating or performing human tasks, or tasks that humans can perform. That's by itself is a rather problematic description, because first of all, we don't have a clear understanding of what is intelligence outside the very narrow concept of IQ tests. Okay. So in the 1950s, just conducting a conversation with a computer, so natural language understanding was something that many would say perhaps computer would never be able to do. And today it's not. Goals like beating the world champion in chess seemed impossible until 1998. So what constitutes exactly intelligent behavior is not well defined. It's a kind of a moving goalpost. So it used to have been, for example, the Turing test. The Turing test was one of those. And it's called, what Turing called it, the imitation game. Basically, the ability to fool us for a brief amount of time. The litmus test was and remained, hasn't been beaten quite yet, remained the ability for a computer, let's say, sitting behind some kind of a screen, and there is a text interface, and there are human judges, and they need to decide if the responses they get come from a human or come from a computer. So we already have results from the 60s, But depending on the context and how naive are the human judges or how seasoned they are, it's not that hard to fool people. I mean, I understand that today, if you go on a dating website, a pretty good chances that the person you're chatting to is a bot, sadly. So, yes, so what is AI? It's kind of, very broadly defined.
Yeah.
What is it that AI in practice? So again, there's been a big shift. So it used to have been face recognition, image recognition, just being able to tell between a cat and a dog. When I did my master's when I finished it in '94, the problem was very open. So that's before deep learning and neural network, and there was much bigger focus on symbolic systems. We had around things like genetic algorithms, that's AI as well.
Yeah.
Today, the practice of AI is synonymous with machine learning.
Yeah.
So the big step here is the understanding, which didn't exist, let's say 2 decades ago, the understanding that to demonstrate intelligent behavior, what seems to us as intelligent behavior, requires training. So we don't imbibe a program with, let's say, what was very commonly used, a decision tree. So here is a bunch of 20 questions and answers. You answer them, you have either a cat or a dog.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the problem is solved, and that's it. No, we don't work that way. In fact, we do, and again, we'll go back to Turing, because that's what how Turing thought the problem of AI would be solved. We're talking about machine learning. We're talking about, we realize that we're not born with the ability to drive a car or tell between cats and dogs. It takes us a whole year to say a few words. So today AI is synonymous with machine learning, and it's synonymous with deep learning. So that's the idea that we use a neural network. It has different layers, it has lots and lots of parameters that are received as input, and you train it. You don't just imbibe it with the knowledge. Here's how you solve the problem. You just say, here's the problem, and that's how it's being solved. That's called supervised machine learning. You say, that picture is a cat, that picture is a dog. This picture is of Justin Carpenter. This is not a picture of Justin. And therefore, today, if you pass in an airport, that's one very common application of AI. You can pass just with your passport. There is a gate. There is a camera that looks at your picture and decides, that's Justin. His hair is a little different. Yes.
Each year.
You can cut your hair. You can even, you can have all sorts of expressions, and the light is different. These were problems 20 years ago. We didn't even know if they were solvable, and there were people arguing seriously that they might never be solvable. And today, you just pass through the airport like that, and an AI program can do it. The reason is machine learning. So the AI program was not, again, there's no algorithm as such that says that's how you solve the problem.
Okay. Well, why, thank you. Why is AI so important to us?
Right. So here we come to, first of all, realizing how prevalent it is in finance, in gaming, in driving, in every little thing we do. Today, when we call customer services, we usually end up talking, first of all, to a personal assistant, some kind of a chatbot. There's several things happening here. First of all, AI programs end up having more and more discretion. They make decisions, they make judgments. Should this job application be considered, yes or no? Filtering. What is the quote you should get for your car insurance? Doctors consult with AI. They control huge swaths of, let's say, industries like mining, and so on. One of the biggest areas where AI does more than anyone else is computer trading. So already 8 years ago, the numbers were like 85% of each dollar traded in the New York stock market. Today, the numbers are not as clear, but when you go to invest, you are competing against algo traders. So these are computer programs who read the data before you read it, are capable to make decisions within milliseconds, and they compete with each other. It's quite amazing to see what goes on in high trades. Well, tens of thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands trading transactions performed per second. So it's everywhere. Fraud detection, recommender systems. But what's more important even is where it is going.
Yes.
What's the trajectory?
Yeah.
So I mentioned to you when we last spoke, let's go to the extreme and say, what is the risks? What is the biggest risk that comes from AI? And the Future of Humanity Institute in Oxford, they have one of those publications about existential risks. So they're busy with potential end of human race extinction scenarios. So we're talking there about pandemics and meteors, and it might be surprising to find number 3 in that list. It keeps changing because I just heard yesterday that Putin decided that the nuclear agreement is off the table. But in looking in the long term or even in the medium term, the trajectory of giving AI more power, of making it more intelligent, relying on it more and more, and where is it going? Well, it's going into places like warfare, cybercrime. So already today, the DoD have been testing it for a while, but you have the Berlin Agreement where top AI researchers looked into the what is called autonomous lethal robots. We're talking here on AI making a decision to pull the trigger, not drones, yes, that can fly on their own and get to anywhere on their own, but they're still controlled. There is a person pulling the trigger. No, we're talking about a fully autonomous drone that, you see this Mr. Mustafa in that village, that's his picture, go and take him out. And that is where the risk is because of a lot of problems. I mean, we know how software is unpredictable. AI is even less predictable. You don't dictate the job, you just sort of demonstrate how it's done. It comes up with a gigantic model, but mainly because of what's called the problem of AI alignment. So the problem of AI alignment is the problem of explaining to a robot that, yes, you need it to, let's take the example of 2001 Space Odyssey, the film. So the robot is there, HAL 9000, and the job is to get the spaceship to one of the moons of Jupiter. But they kind of forgot to mention that it's not supposed to kill the astronauts in the way. Among other things, it would defeat the purpose of getting there. But so today's examples, you can go back all the way. Ancient examples are the magicians. The Disney story. It's the Green Brothers, I think, story. The magician's apprentice that knows the magic word to to tell brooms how to get the water, it doesn't know the magic word to how to stop them.
Yeah.
And the more modern tale, the modern example that is being given, for example, that comes from the Future of Humanity Institute, is the paperclip factory. So you have an incredibly powerful AI machine that can do whatever you want it to do, and you say, okay, I'm just building a paperclip factory. Well, it's not enough to tell it you need the paperclip factory with a minimum amount of costs. You just need to tell it not to eradicate the human race on the way. So the alignment here is with human ethics. You want a car to drive from A to B, and you need it to avoid the obstacles on the way. You need it to not to crash on the way. But then eventually it comes across certain human dilemmas that humans have difficulty solving on it. So if you want, the alignment problem is with autonomous lethal robots, with self-driving, with any kind of AI, it's basically that one person's needs, desires, wishes, priorities are different from another. If you're sitting in the car and there is an AI driving the car, your first priority is your own safety. The car manufacturer, however, would like to avoid hitting children playing on the road and anything that, right? So that's a different priority. The regulator would want to say, okay, we want all cars to move.
Understand,
So the problem of alignment is actually not it's not an AI problem as much as it's a human problem. I'm not sure. I don't see how it's going to be solved. How can you make sure that when you tell AI what to do, that you also convey all the regulatory and ethical constraints around it, and please try not to kill anyone on the process, and so on. Why would AI reach a point? This is another debate. I think it's speaking about the future of AI. There's always been skeptics. It's been said that an AI will never beat a human in chess, will never be able to win Jeopardy, will never be able to play poker or play Go, or and all of these, or author a poem. All of these goals have been beaten quite a while ago. A poem, GPT-3, the kind of poems that GPT-3 are incredible, and they win book prizes and sort of things. So whether AI will be able to beat humans in any kind of task, and here we're talking about super intelligence or artificial general intelligence, is still being hotly debated. I think the most important fact to mention here is that experts think so. So if you survey, mentioned that in our previous conversation, let's just go to AI experts, computer scientists meeting in an American artificial intelligence conference or whatnot. And you ask them, okay, when, if ever, computers will be able to beat humans on pretty much any task. That's like a point where you can say, okay, we have here potentially super intelligence, so it can exceed what we're doing better than us, including building AI. So if it can do anything better than us, it can build itself. It can improve itself. We're talking about recursive self-improvement and of control. So the answer to when, one of the surprising results is that not the average, the median is around 2040 among the general population. We're talking about here hard-nosed, incredibly conservative computer scientists, people who, we're not talking about wide-eyed teenagers who see films and say, we've had Turing talking about that possibility. We've heard lots of predictions saying, okay, no, that will never happen.
Yeah.
And the way things progress from the 1950s up until today, I think it's very hard to deny there is here a pace of progress, fairly steady pace of progress if it doesn't accelerate, and a point in time where they will be able to beat us in whatever task you can imagine is maybe not so far off.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I think that makes it one of the most interesting problems. There is a certain twist to it, and I'm not sure there is time for it. There's just one certain twist to it. I remember getting interested in AI and thinking, well, why is that problem so fascinating? There are lots of reasons, but I think looking at it philosophically backwards, let me ask you this, Justin. What is the most powerful force in the universe? What is I mean, we're thinking of physical forces, we're thinking of energy, we're thinking of wealth, we're thinking of power and influence in human terms. I think that in the grand scheme of things, it is a bit of a metaphysical statement. Intelligence. So intelligence is perhaps what I see as the most powerful force. In a war situation, in a business situation, in any kind of game theoretical situation.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So yes, it's true. You need resources, you need money, you need power, you need connections, you need a political influence. It depends what kind of game you're playing. But if you have enough intelligence, you can get all these things. You can gain money, power, influence. Yes.
Yeah.
So if the intelligence is sufficiently, so just imagine if AI continues to improve itself in the ability to do just about anything humans, and then surpass them just because it can build better AI, it can improve itself.
Yeah.
We're talking here about a phenomena called recursive self-improvement. AI can just sit with itself and revise its own code. It doesn't need you to improve it anymore. It's so good in what it's doing. It's better AI. And that is why it has to be taken very seriously, I think.
Yeah, totally understand. It's fascinating, Amnon.